Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? Brock and Alexandra, Shahab, how are you? Hi, Jeffrey. Money. Eddie Money? You got 2 tickets to paradise? Hello, Kay. All right, so yesterday I was showing this throw over or overthrow in the S&Ps, and during the session we got back underneath it, and then last night's session was not able to penetrate it again, so it looks a little vulnerable to me. Now the RSI is saying one thing. What's the RSI telling me right here? The RSI is still a confirmed high up there, right? So, I've seen markets, sometimes top, and it depends what time frame you go to. You go to a shorter term time frame. You have them everywhere. So my RSI work is telling me to wait. I just want to point out new high is nearby good. I hope so. Doesn't look so great. And you know what area is turning out to be important here in S&Ps? So far it's holding the 78.6 back after going 88.6. Your first sign would be a candle closing back under 35.07. You can see we're holding it. We haven't closed under it. Difference between trading beneath it, and closing beneath it. Everyone with me? So they're probing it, they're trying to hold it. And if not, maybe the high is in. It's hard to read it. Oh. You mean because of the color? You're the first person that said that. Ping pong ball pattern. It's a T-Rex. Okay, we have a T-Rex pattern in the S&Ps. Underneath, right, Martin? Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. You mean when I have my cursor there? Well, you don't need the exact reading. I'm just trying to demonstrate. You don't have to know that we had a confirmed high. So, it was up at 87, 86. So that's a lot of mo. So I'm hoping we do get another high. Okay, because I'm not short yet. The only thing I did was, you have to take a look at this pound. That was a pretty ugly day that it's trying to come back from. And what's interesting about the pound is we actually traded under a 2-week reversal. Okay, we didn't close there. But if by Friday, you may want to write down the number, it's 129.35.5. Okay, so about 50 pips lower on a close by Friday, and you have a 2-week reversal. So we have 3 days to see if I'm all wet. And I'm not saying the cable can't push. I just put a piece on because, we could trade 61.8. We could trade 130. Maybe we do it today. So, well, that's 61.8 back there. It's stalled. This is the bigger picture. So it's stalled at the 50% level. So here's a little coaching. I've been looking for 61.8 up here, right? 31.60, 31.60s, and it didn't happen. So do I just sit here and wait for the 61.8 level? If this could have been the high, no, I sell the next rally and risk the highs and see if this was real, because I wanted it to rally or thought it could rally to 61.8 doesn't mean it will. So I had to adjust to what happened yesterday. And anyway, selling the pop here because the downside's it looks pretty attractive. And also bought Euro pound. So Euro pound is pulled back with the pound popping and the euro doing nothing. And same type of situation yesterday. And this did do what I've been talking about for many days early in the week, or it was probably Tuesday. We took out this low, which is what I was looking for, and we held above here and put in this nice day. So I guess the moment of truth is here. I mean, you could trade it with a pretty tight stop. You may want to get out of the way under 10. And then, you know, I already had this bias, and then Grega was here yesterday, and he kind of confirmed the outlook. Didn't pinpoint exactly where you should buy it or where you should have your stop, but always nice to have Grega's wave work agreeing with what I was thinking about doing, right? It gives me even more confidence in the trade. Oh, and if it doesn't work out, I'm going to, not really, but if it doesn't work out, I'm going to tweet real mean things to Grega and blame him for influencing me on the trade. Don't ever do that to anybody. You're the one that controls your own destiny. You're the captain of your own ship. No one's clicking the mouse for you. So grow as a trader and don't place blame. Don't say, oh, I got burned in the end. You didn't get burned in the end. It was not a good trade. You're not getting burned. If you're getting burned, it's because it's a very difficult thing to do, and you're not good at it yet. It takes time, right? I mean, you're the captain of your own destiny. But, you know, if you take your ship into the rocks, you're the captain, right? You find open seas, you're the captain. Anyway, so, you know, that's what I'm seeing here today. What else is kind of a feature to me? I think that's it. I don't know how I could, you know, stay bullish euro at least now, even though this is my preferred long if I'm bullish euro pound. But I mean, I think this was pretty damaging, don't you? And one caveat in the dollar when it comes to off numbers, and I don't think we got there to have a 2-week reversal in the dollar. By Friday, you need closes over 93.81. And so far, the high has been 60. I know the bears are looking at this as a great shorting opportunity. They could be right, because here, my RSI work disagreed. I had no divergence. Okay, I had no divergence, but you know, sometimes I have to go with the price action, even over it. So you know, I'm thinking there are too many dollar bears out there. And the narrative I talked about on Monday actually started to happen. So I was talking about a dollar low, although it didn't come in at 92.60. And I actually shorted it at 93.20 yesterday in here and got out after Grega was on saying he was looking for a rally, and Grega saved me money. The wizard's pretty good, don't you think? Who likes the wizard? Do you know who it is? It's not the Wizard of Oz. It's the Wizard of Waves. Anyway, but I got out of the way and it was a BE trade, and you know what? I consider that a winner. It doesn't show up on my P&L, but the fact I got out of the way and saved 30, 40 points definitely is as good as a winning trade sometimes, you know? I don't have to come back from that hit. I'd like to see NASDAQ make one more run up here, but I have to say, between the two, it's obvious. I mean, NASDAQ's pre-market up 44, LOSA, and S&P's up 120. But look at the RSI structure in NASDAQ. Here's NASDAQ, and here's S&P's. See how much weaker the RSI structure? They both have confirmed highs. But if by some chance, I think it was Amira said that new highs are coming. Okay, this I doubt will go over 7D. So, you know, if we rally late into the week, I was reading Jim Welsh and he was talking about, you know, what happened on Columbus Day was like that, you know, option phenomena, right? So there's an option phenomenon with everyone buying, and they're not buying long term, they're not buying leaps. They're buying 2-week options. Okay. Bullish hidden divergence in what, buddy? Andre? There's another talent that I don't like to be on the other side of the fade of the trade on. But I think I've been blabbing too long, and I know Blake likes to get the bias chart done. So I'm not sure if there's any news at 5:30, but come on in, Blake. I have diarrhea of the mouth this morning.
Diarrhea at the mouth. Okay, so we do have producer prices coming out here in a bit. So
good morning. Like that. Good morning, buddy.
You know, you were on a roll, man. I was just letting you go and go and go.
All right, but I know you like to be ready for the news and
I try to be, and you know, I'd like to get some analysis done for sure. So let's go ahead and work on that. You know, I actually pulled some of my cable. I was very frustrating overnight. The pound came under pressure, and you can see how it dropped through, you know, the 129 level, and it stopped my my pound yen out actually yesterday evening. But I had some short euro sterling and long pound Aussie. I just took that off just a little bit ago, and so it's frustrating because I knew I was on the right side, and then of course I got, you know, stopped out on a couple things, and well, on the pound yen, and then you know, I made money on the euro sterling and the pound Aussie, but it's like it's frustrating because I know I feel that the right trade is, you know, long sterling. One of the problems with the cable right here, and you can see the pound's like right up against this 130 level. One of the issues with the sterling at these prices is that the market is extremely bullish. So everybody's expecting some sort of deal to get, you know, to go through. And I was just reading the macro survey from Citi regarding, you know, what fund managers are expecting and where they expect prices in 6 months and that type of thing. And, you know, I guess I can just say the bottom line is everybody's expecting some sort of deal to get done. No hard Brexit. Most people are expecting some sort of skinny deal, which, you know, where does that put the pound longer term? I don't know. Maybe that if we get some sort of deal that is a quote unquote skinny deal, that, you know, perhaps the pound rallies and then fails at some point. Maybe just rallies because, you know, a deal does get done. But I do also know positioning wise that the market's pretty long sterling. So it's choppy. I know we're, you know, up against some resistance here, and I'll look at the, you know, just like a quick fib from the highs yesterday, I guess.
We're right there at 61.8 now, buddy.
Yeah, it comes in right at 130, right? So
yeah, 97-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, and we might make it up to like 130.40.
78.6.
Yeah, the 78%. So I'm gonna write that down. You know, 130.40 is possible. This morning, I think what we should probably do near term is just kind of keep us in range. The inverted head and shoulder pattern could still play out, obviously, but you know, that would have been more dependent on having some sort of news come out this week that a deal was getting done. But you know, it seems like something's going to get done. We're just, you know, 2 months from now, you know, between now and the end of the year is probably realistic. So support, we're just going to write down today's lows, or, you know, this 121, it's actually, or a 128.50 really is support should we get back down there. And I'm going to write that down. I mean, it's very, very messy at this point. Let's take the euro. Speaking of messy, the euro, we just made a brief new low, and you can see that this support actually is probably pretty important here intraday. And that's going to be 117.25. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. And resistance, I mean, the euro is trying to get a little leg up here. So resistance might be, and you know, we can do a quick fib just like we did with the cable, highs to lows, right? Resistance will probably be 117.90 ish. You know, 117.90 would be the 618. So I hate to do this to you guys, but we're going to be range bound all over the place. Aussie. We have Australian jobs data tonight, just FYI, in case you're not paying attention. The Aussie held this trend line support. I still think it's trading heavy. The 618 comes in at, and I'm going to mark that number down because remember, we're dealing with jobs data, and just in case the euro and sterling get a little bit of a lift here, we might be able to make it up towards 72.60. Support is going to be this trend line that comes in at 71. Let's just call it 71.45. And you guys know this is one of the only ones that I'm going to have to put a bias on because we're below this channel.
Yeah.
You know, we're below that channel. I still think that it's, you know, it's a sell rallies type of situation, but we can't get
could tag the channel line again.
Yeah,
above it, you know.
It may, you know, and that's why I think the 618 is possible, especially you know, if we get a good jobs data, you know.
You're one of the best chartists I know.
Well, thank you.
You could call it basic. I call it clean.
Well,
very
I appreciate
clean.
That.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think that the you know, on a good jobs number, we might spike up there. We'll see. Kiwi, the Kiwi is struggling up here at this 66.75. One of the things about the Kiwi is if you look at the Aussie New Zealand, it is trying to make a move. So that's the thing that could allow for us to make a move towards 66.90. Is just if you look at some of the like the Aussie New Zealand squeeze that's happening right now. Support is going to be 66. Well, I'm going to write down here 66.25. And let's go here to the dollar Canadian. $31.60, and you know what, the dollar Canadian hasn't really been going anywhere. I mean, it's been, I still think that the risk is we can actually see this low first at the 78% retracement. So I'm going to write down 131.60 and 130.85. I still think that that's, you know, possible. Dollar Mexican peso, we are still struggling at the 21.50. Support comes in at 21.10 now, so it's all really easy because we are so range bound. Dollar Swiss,
home on the range.
Yeah, right. Hey, oh crap. I know you guys can't hear this. Hey guys, I got it. Hold on.
I can hear you.
Stelios, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Hey, can you take over for 1 minute? I'll be right back in like 2 minutes. My dogs are barking.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Give me like 2 minutes. I'm just gonna mute myself. Give me
No
2-3
problem,
minutes. Be right back.
Yeah.
Let me take the screen as well.
You know, regarding dogs, Stel, that my psychiatrist finally gave me a diagnosis, and he said I was an agnostic, dyslexic, insomniac.
What?
Yeah, yeah, and they have no medication for it. It's because I stay up all night wondering whether or not there's really a dog.
That's funny. That's
Anyway,
funny.
I'm on my lithium now. Go ahead.
So Blake was talking about the pound we had today. If you guys remember, we're talking about how Boris Johnson put a soft deadline for this week, the 15th of this month, for something to be ironed out or agreed upon, because to ratify it and all that, it takes some time. Well, today he said that, we can continue discussing going into year end, which is interesting. So the pound is getting a slight lift on that, but I don't really think this is changing what the market is thinking regarding a potential agreement or not. Because if you think about it, it's only been like 10 pips in euro pound after this happened. So I think the market still probably thinks that a deal will be made, but I don't think it's very far from a 50-50 chance. If you think about the path that the pound has taken since the referendum all those years ago, and I remain of the view that there will be some kind of an agreement, that they will do something. Is it going to be a good one or bad one? I don't care.
Do you think it's going to be a skinny deal? Sorry about that. By the way, I have my dog. One of my dogs is like 13 years old. So if I don't adhere to cry, then I might have an accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think to answer your question, I think yes.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. We can throw depends on you though. We can't so much on my dairy dog.
I think
to
answer your question, I think what they're going to try and do is avoid the disaster. So they're going to do something and say, look, okay, we're agreeing on X, Y, Z, and maybe even somehow, I mean, I don't know how legally it can be done, but basically avoid this hard landing. We're crashing out of the EU with nothing in place. I think that's what they're going to try and do, and then they're going to somehow try to iron out some details. But because if you think about it, they're either going to agree or not. They will know by now, right? The fishing and all that, it's a yes or no thing. You either agree or you don't. It strikes me that they're leaving it so late. It's almost as if both sides are trying to prepare the ground for saying, look, we really tried. We did everything we can. We had our people's interest in mind always. And here's the best we could do, and give us something.
Yeah,
I think that's
so is there a hard date?
Yeah, the end of the year.
Yeah, okay. It's the end of the year, and that's why we're just saying that maybe it's a skinny deal at the end of the year that gets us over the line. But will that be positive for sterling, or is it bearish for sterling?
I have a magnificent idea. Why don't they transit like the US-China deal and make it like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3? At some point, it's going to be done.
What are you eating, bro?
I mean, seriously, are you doing a webinar as you're eating right now?
So, sounds pretty.
I mean, good. That would be a first, actually, to have somebody like picking out as they're.
That's being really comfortable.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Two TOO.
Yes.
All right. Hey, you know what? I know we have a few minutes till we can continue this conversation, but let me get through some of this analysis. And Stelios, I want to thank you for holding down the fort really quick. Like I said,
he was so nervous, Blake.
I know.
Never done
Obviously,
it before, yeah.
Steve isn't. He's super comfortable. He can feed his face and talk on a webinar at the same time. All right, let's go back to the Swissy. So the Swissy, you'll notice that we hit a brief new high, and then we reversed. Now this is the channel that we've been following. So I'm going to say that 9160 is resistance today. Okay, and that means support's going to be back down here at 90.80, right? Okay, and let's go over to the dollar, U.S. dollar, Norwegian krona. You know, same type of thing here. We had a little bit of dollar strength, failure, rolled over. You know, and it's really choppy. Actually, you want to know how choppy it is? Notice if you go to ForexAnalytix, we have no patterns in play right now. That's how choppy it is in you know, in FX. It's just, you know, it's kind of like we're waiting for something to happen. Anyway, U.S. dollar, Norwegian krona. I think that we'll find support down here at 917, 918. Resistance today is 927, and you kind of got to just adhere to that. Oops. Is it 927, 920, 918, 918? Sorry. Okay, and then dollar yen. Well, here's the S&P. You know what? I'll just do the dollar yen first. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. It's, you know, while we're above 106, soon as we came back below 105.80, that was like, okay, that's thought it was going to be a breakout, but it was a failed breakout. That trend line comes in just at those highs, which is 106, basically 106.15. Oops. And support today should be at 105. Actually 104.95, but you know what? I'm gonna mark it as 105 just because I think that between that 50% retracement and these spike lows right here, you're gonna find support. So it's gonna be right around 105. Okay. Let's see here. Dollar index. Again, this is very similar to, it looks like every other dollar pair actually. My assumption would be we go down here to this breakout point right there at 93.25. Remember, that's a 50% retracement, and resistance today is 93.66. So. And gold and the S&P. So here's gold. Again, this is very similar to the dollar. False breakdown overnight, rally. We're probably going to stall somewhere around here. So 19. Hold on really quick. Let me just check something. 1913 is a 618. So I'll write that down. And support 1880, which has been support for a long time. And the S&P, last but not least. You know, we talked yesterday about this trying to be a, you know, flag. I still think that that's kind of what's happening, but we'll see. You know, we had it tighter, like right there, but
We have PPI in about 30 seconds.
oh, thanks.
See, I wasn't late today.
You weren't. All right, hold on. Then we'll come back to do that. Here's your data flash, guys. This is, remember, this comes with ForexAnalytix. You'll see that PPI come out here in just 1 second. So how much you want to bet it comes in line? Oh, it's actually a little whoa, a little stronger.
Yep.
Wow. Inflation on a producer level, a little stronger, not affecting currencies at all whatsoever. Actually, Aussie's at new highs. Higher inflation. Aussie's ticking higher. Gold's not doing anything. Gold and I meant copper. Gold and silver at highs of the session right now. So it's weakening the dollar a little bit here.
Order filled.
That's at least in the past, that was the normal path forward after stronger inflation data, because stronger inflation was always a negative for the currency. At some point, when we started all these maddening policies, it started acting oppositely, because the market believed that stronger inflation might actually force central banks to raise rates. But now that everybody knows that there is no chance of raising rates until they really need to do so, it makes sense to me if again the relationship starts being as it was in the past, meaning stronger inflation data, weaker currency.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the case. So real quick, Stephen, I'll let you actually explain that concept in a little bit more detail here in a second. Let me just
yeah,
write
absolutely.
down a couple of this. Let's see, that would be, remember the 88% retracement comes in. Let's get 33.50. Price support is around 34.70. $3,500, and then this would be $35.50. Okay. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave you, and here's your bias chart. And I want to say thank you everybody for tuning in today, as always. And well, that's it. Good luck today. It's just remember, things are really choppy here, so just be careful.
Thanks, Blakey.
Thanks,
All
Blake.
right, thanks guys. Have a great one, and
You too, mate.
yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
So still, during like the biggest crisis in decades, CPI at near 2%, which was the target until extremely recently, and PPI rising.
So rate hikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is debt, and has been and will be, and that kind of handcuffs central banks and governments to what they can do.
Yes. The only problem being with what you just said is that theoretically speaking, debt is not a problem. It isn't, it wasn't, and never has been part of their mandate. Debt is a problem to be solved by governments. It's a fiscal issue, not a monetary one.
Yes. Then again, equities are not in their mandate, and somehow every time there's a pullback, they come out and say stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, what can we say? We've talked about this many times. Really, what to say? We discussed the UK and Brexit.
Quite a big reaction higher, by the way, today.
What?
Quite a big reversal higher in the cable.
Yeah.
That's the chart I would start from, although Blake covers effects. But
the interesting thing is it was up already before Johnson said, "Oh yeah, we're going to talk about it."
I hope you're not implying that something leaked. We know that that never happens, right?
Never. But yeah, I mean, the pound is one of the few currencies that's moving today. Metals are actually bouncing back, but that's kind of to be expected. Silver was down like 4% yesterday, so it makes sense. Equities are flat. Really, we're just driving towards the US elections and the year end for the Brexit closure, and that's what's gonna. I think we're gonna be chopping sideways until then.
Speaking of which, let's have a look at the euro pound. Here it is actually. Euro pound, it keeps finding it very hard to crack through this channel. I have to admit that this move lower in the euro pound looks to me like, it's corrective to this prior move, and I really want to see another jump higher towards like 93 to 94, somewhere there. That would be nice. Let's see, by the way, we
I
can
would
see
too.
yeah. Speaking of which, this is like the third consecutive day now that we're testing the 61.8 of this move. So quite a nice support area if somebody really wants to buy it in the short term. Personally, I think if you want to buy the euro pound, you wait for a breakout from this.
Where would you call it the breakout? You need a closing candle over what?
90.75.
Thank you.
90.75, because it's now the confluence of this horizontal support resistance area and also the channel. So I think a daily close above 90.75 should be good enough for at least like 200 to 300 pips of upside. Not bad.
Yeah.
Another benefit, not at all associated with the dollar. So, if you're really uncertain what you want to do with the dollar, there it is. Now, personally, I heard your introduction, Dale, a lot of dollar bears out there. I don't know how many there are, but you can definitely count me in them. I've been for quite some time, as you know very well. And I still don't see the thesis for a bullish bias here. Now, admittedly, with yesterday's candlestick, we got here a morning star formation on the daily chart. Here it is.
Didn't quite get to 61.8.
Yeah,
so
but
I mean, the thesis is that we're going to put in a higher low and then have one more equality rally. This is my thesis, not the thesis.
Nothing is impossible, but as long as we stay below 94, I really find no reason why I would want to be long. So
yeah, I agree with you. 94 is very important.
Yeah, so we have a pivot area above it. You can be more bullish, although I would be cautiously bullish even then. Below it, I see no reason being bullish. So it's for me it's as simple as that. And everything in between I consider noise. And the way I trade, meaning my time frames,
you could be right,
help me avoid a lot of the noise, because you know how it is. Noise is very annoying. I mean, you can get trapped in taking positions in the wrong direction just because of shorter moves, especially during the past few years. You can have like some spikes or dumps in the market that have zero follow-through. That wasn't the case so much in the past, but unfortunately, that's quite much the case during the past few years. So it is what it is, and you have to trade with that. Let me open the chat, by the way, so we can have a look. Now, having to do with
someone
gold
wants
and silver,
to know what you're
yesterday
reading.
When the dollar, what I'm reading?
No, what you were eating.
What do you mean?
Some
bread, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I eat a little bit of bread between coffees. It helps with the stomach. Yeah.
It absorbs the acid. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Exactly. So it helps quite a lot.
Thank you, doctor.
So gold and silver, were looking like, especially gold, like gold at some point was looking like it was breaking down yesterday. But guess what? It found support once again in this little channel. Now, I've said it before, and we had this discussion even with Gregor yesterday. I'm not certain if gold or silver have found a low. There is a chance they need to get one more push lower. What worries me with that is that I've seen very frequently people looking for one more low or one more high in strong uptrends or strong downtrends, and that never comes.
Yeah, I'm like that. I fall into that sometimes.
Yeah, so it kind of bothers me that the thesis that we're going to get one more low is becoming decently popular.
Yeah.
And despite looking at the chart and still thinking it's a very good possibility, you know, something keeps bugging about me. I mean, you know, I have that inner voice telling me, you know, perhaps there isn't one more low. I guess we'll find out. And how are we going to find out? By keeping track of this channel. If we see like a vertical move that's going to bridge through the channel to the upside, I'm going to be more or less convinced that that's it, that we've seen the low. If on the other hand, we break through this channel, fine. I mean, even better, we're going to get most likely a test of the 1820 area, which I really like. In the case of silver, we might get a test of 21. That would be incredible if you ask me. You know, and I'm definitely going to be a buyer. Now, having to do with natural gas, since it has become popular on the show, nice rejection from the 290 area once again. Personally, I do believe that it's very likely that we're going to find a higher low somewhere here, perhaps back testing this broken flag. And next time we're at 290, I think that we're not stopping there. Bears managed to make it hold once again. You know, for every time they try to, I think it will become harder and harder because there is obvious momentum here, and there is obviously a lot of buying interest. So that's all I have to say here. Now, having to do with crude oil, the more crude
Steve, can I interrupt very quickly?
Absolutely.
Now you're talking about oil. We have a friend, Chad, who's asking about oil stocks that you talked about a while ago. If you can have, you know,
Yeah,
1 minute,
I
afterwards.
actually took a nice profit on my TOT long time ago. I had talked about it. Yeah, on the webinar. Actually, I think I had the sketch here. Yeah, there it is. And this is what I think about it. First of all, good thing I took profits there, because I expected one more leg higher, because A, B, C. And if you look at this price action, it really looks bad. And it's quite amazing, because it doesn't seem to have any correlation with what's happening in crude prices. Yeah.
That's probably bearish crude, and maybe once crude starts cracking, the acceleration of this decline slows up. Maybe it's already discounting that move to 32.
Just isolating stocks, because trust me, the rest look more or less the same. If I had no idea what's happening with crude, I would really assume that crude is taking a beating, which it isn't. Yet.
Well, I just believe they can lead, Steve. That's all. Cheers.
Yeah, usually it goes the other way around, usually. But yes, it can work this way as well. Now, having to do with crude, I have to tell you that after this move higher, this type of a consolidation like the one we see here, it doesn't really persuade me that crude is about to break down. Now, there is one bearish interpretation that somebody can make here, which is this, that the main way to think of it is like this. So we had one leg lower, now we have a consolidation, and there is one leg lower. Look at this channel. So it remains to be seen if this is a symmetrical triangle, in which case you should use the intermittent trendline resistance as your guide for a potential bullish breakout, or the second alternative, which is like this, one leg lower than this channel, and then we break down from this channel and produce one more move to the downside. It's not easy to trade here. Why isn't it easy to trade here? Because it holds up quite nicely for me to want to buy. For me to want to sell. But on the other hand, I haven't got the price I'm willing to buy it at. You know what I mean? So personally, no position for me here. I would more than love to be able to buy crude at 29, as I've said multiple times. So at 29, I'm a buyer unless, of course, it's getting destroyed on a daily basis. But at an orderly way down to 29, I'm a buyer. Until that happens, I'm just monitoring, nothing else. If something changes, I'm going to be more than happy to let you know. Can you take a look at them again? And this BP, TOT, etc. Yeah, let's have a look at the second one as well if you want. Let's have a look at BP as well since you mentioned it. British Petroleum. Is this it? No, it can't be. What's the ticker for BP? Anyhow,
BP.
hmm?
I thought it was BP.
I thought the same. BP Plus, which is the petroleum part of it? BPC. No. Is this it? Yeah. Here it is. Oh my God. This looks even worse. This has actually produced already lower lows. So yeah, my expectations back then, as you see, was something like that, which it did happen. I mean, it did happen. Let me explain. Look at this. You see it here. We did get a higher high from there. So I expected one more high, which we incrementally did get there, and then lower, which we are seeing lower prices. Now, how low can this go? We sliced through the confluence of supports here at 220 something. I think it can even go down to 127. On the other hand, let's FIB extend the corrective rebound and see what we get from it. There we go. So we have a confluence of supports at between 182 and 186. I think that's the next downside target in this case. There is a little bit of an attempt for an RSI divergence, but that on its own is definitely no signal, to be a buyer. This chart looks horrible. I mean, if I own some of this with proper leverage or whatever, I would probably have trouble sleeping at night. Can tell you that much. So in all honesty, don't try to catch the falling knife here. Let me see if a stock market crash comes. Would precious metals weaken due to strong USD being a safe asset? Short term, I mean. Yes, the very short term reaction, we've seen that very frequently. There is this mentality that there's always going to be somebody coming for the rescue. So you see a lot of people dumping stocks, dumping gold and anything that has to do with gold to like cover margin calls or whatever whenever there is a sell-off, and you see an initial reaction lower. Now, if there is like a real crash, you can expect gold to actually accelerate higher after an eventual like first reaction lower in sympathy to what is the usual. And sometimes the markets just react to something just because there is a leftover memory of what's happening. For example, everybody knows that it's extremely likely to have gold moving lower if you get like a sharp move lower in stocks. So what happens is that even people that believe it's stupid for gold to move lower when the markets crash, they might think like, oh, the markets are crashing. Okay, let me sell gold here because I'll be able to buy it lower. So in essence, it becomes a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let me see what else. There's somebody that was asking actually about, Alexander was asking about the Euro CAD and the pound CAD. I haven't traded them recently, but I do keep an eye on them on occasion. Last time I obviously had a look at this was when this was happening. I expected that we might have a move higher, but naturally we had a move lower. And let me explain why I say naturally. Because if you expect this formation to produce a move higher, you expect that once you break out, there's going to be momentum in this move. And then you get persuaded that actually this is a valid breakout and you can buy it. But when you have such a formation and then you get this type of price action coming out of it, then you immediately know that something is up, because this is not the type of price action you expect in a breakout. So naturally, since this is the type of price action that followed, as it seems we're going to have one more move lower, but just look at the latest period from this chart. We did have an impulsive move higher, there's no question about it. But what has followed since is a series of moves that clearly have corrective characteristics. So in that context, I think there is no trade here that makes sense, if you're asking me. Now, somebody can say, yeah, isn't this a double top up there? The answer is that it isn't a double top unless we manage to break through like this area, in which case, something like that is going to be triggered. Okay, so as long as we're in between, what is it, 151 almost, and like 159.30, there is no reason to, talk about double tops or whatever else. As long as we are in this area, this whole thing might be a very ugly, choppy consolidation before producing another leg higher. So that's what I think about EuroCAD. So bottom line, my suggestion is stay away from it. If I don't see something that jumps on you and once you want to trade something, I just don't even consider trading it. Now, having to do with pound CAD, interestingly, nothing has changed since the last time I had a look at it, because the main formation here is this one, this symmetrical triangle. So in essence, pound CAD here confirms what EuroCAD told us. What did EuroCAD tell us? That there is no trade at the moment. So pound CAD tells us the same. There is no trade here at the moment. There might be a nice trade here once we break out, but until that happens, there isn't one. So you can keep monitoring this symmetrical triangle until something happens. I don't really think there is much to do. Let's have a look at some of the crosses as well. Pound Aussie trying to break higher here, perhaps producing one more leg to the upside. Pound Kiwi also rebounding, found support again today at this 193.25 support area. The big picture to consider here, and I've talked about that before, is this one. Look at this almost perfect channel, right? So I do think that eventually there's going to be like a big, monstrous trade coming through this market, and my assumption is that it's probably going to be a short one once we at some point break through this channel to the downside. But until that happens, who knows what's going to happen here? I mean, we might see another attempt to move higher within this channel. So, the big picture really interests me here. I would want to sell. I would seriously want to sell a breakdown here for various reasons. First of all, I think it can have a huge follow through, and it's, these pairs, these cross currencies, have the tendency on occasion to move really fast. So you can really, I mean, even if you go in half position, you can end up making a lot of money on it. Second of all, there is even going to be some positive carry, I'm assuming, soon enough. So, you're not paying to hold it. You're actually you will be actually getting paid a little bit. Let me see what else we have. If I think Shell is in the same brand, is closing the gap from Monday. Okay, Shell, Royal Dutch, Royal Dutch Shell. Yeah, it looks exactly like BP. Right? You can see it here. I mean, a little bit less bearish because it had this dead cat bounce here, but the rest of the structure, it's exactly the same.
Look
Nice.
at Petrobras, same kind of look. But I know someone like that's bearish a dollar, Steve, and they're pretty bullish Brazil, and Petrobras being a Brazilian oil share.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's a very big company.
Same
Speaking
guy
of which,
that's also bullish the ruble with you.
speaking of which, Dale, this is an amazing trade, if you ask me.
Yeah, the highs are in. It looks like, man.
I think so as well. Huh? What do you think?
Yeah.
And an amazing carry, eh?
Yeah, it's 2 or B, I think. Even if it tries the upper blue line again. I mean, you know where you're wrong, right? At new highs, I guess you have to throw in the towel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah,
But this formation doesn't tell me new highs are coming.
No, it's a wedge.
So even if we had Grega here, or even somebody that does harmonics or whatever, because this is more or less a common understanding.
Andre's here.
Or basic, we have Andre with us today?
Well, he's been Skyping me, and I saw him in the, when I was talking, he said he saw hidden divergence, so he's in the crowd.
So here it is. That's what I think is happening here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So did you check the carry? Is it 10% nowadays, still with low rates?
No, I didn't. Let me check. Where are the central banks?
Gordon likes coffee because of the real.
2% in Brazil, by the way. I know you were talking about the ruble before.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to check Brazil because I hadn't for quite some time. So expectations here are 2%, but for it to go higher towards 2.5%. And inflation, a reported inflation rate is at 3.14. I'm assuming that means inflation is around 5%.
Yeah.
So real rates are deeply negative, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so do we have a guest today?
Yeah, Mark Newton.
Oh, Mark is going to be with us. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see him yet.
You don't. Let me also have a look to help you out. Let me see if we have any questions as you're looking.
Okay.
In the participants list.
Oh, he's here. I see Mark.
Okay, you want me to upgrade to make him a panelist?
If you want, yeah, sure. Okay.
Done.
Okay. Welcome back, Mark.
There he is. Mark, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Welcome back, bro. Ground control to Mark CMT.
Okay, give him another couple of minutes. I've promoted him. I even sent a request for him to unmute. So let's see. What else did we have? Okay, he wrote to us. Let me write back to him.
I am here. Yeah. I'm going to ask him to unmute. Maybe you didn't do that. Hiya, Mark. I just heard something. So we can't hear you.
He's muted. That's why you can't hear him. So that's normal.
Yeah, I know. I've asked him to unmute. Please unmute.
Okay, let's see. USD knock, by the way, once again getting rejected from the channel. So far, the move lower is orderly. So that makes me believe that we might see another leg higher. We might. I'm not that convinced. I'm just giving you options and possibilities. And if you have a look at USD SEC, also the move lower is orderly. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get another jump to the upside. Just letting you know. Let me see if there is another. No, that's...
Mark's been on this platform before.
Yeah, multiple times actually.
Yeah.
And on the event. Somebody's asking for USD CAD. Listen, USD CAD is holding, yes, but in all actuality, looking at this pattern, do you really believe that, you know, being long is the way to go? I think it's extremely dangerous. Even the last 2.5 days, they look to me, if we go to a 4-hour chart, I'm sure it's going to be more clear. So let's go to the USD CAD on the 4-hour chart. Look at this.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks like a disaster about to happen to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Once it negated that breakout at 2.5, that was
after
it. You know?
After such a strong move lower.
Eve, hello everyone.
There we go.
Hey mate.
Yes, and just because you touched that chart.
Oh, that's
can you please? Yes, I am.
Mark,
I'm sorry.
Mark, you cannot share your screen because I'm sharing my screen, but we haven't heard your voice yet. So once I know that we have voice, I'm going to stop sharing so you can share.
And
I don't know if you've, you know, now you're unmuted. I can see that you're unmuted.
Oh, nice.
So check your sound settings.
What a producer you are, man.
What did you say, Andre, about you about USD CAD?
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
I was seeing you drawing that trend line support as an ascending trend line. If we draw that trend line as a descending trend line, as kind of a megaphone, eventually people will be trapped between people will be trapped inside this kind of a megaphone formation if they start to even to buy or to sell that market at this point, I believe.
Usually though, megaphone
no
formations are not that usual, so it's very likely that the formation here will end up being something like this.
Or something like a flag, yeah.
Yes, a pennant.
Or a pennant, yeah.
So for the time being, this looks like a pennant if we want to be very accurate. And that's what looks like it's coming in the near future.
We have a very nice bullish crab pattern at 129.51 monthly fractal support.
129.51.
That's a 161.8 extension.
Also previous low from what I see here.
Previous lows, it's a monthly fractal support.
Yes, exactly. Actually it's a yearly low.
It's a yearly low, yeah, monthly fractal. I published that chart. We have that chart inside our platform. But let's see what will happen.
By the way, just look at how crazy this year is and how manipulated stocks are.
Yeah.
We've
let's
had
see what will happen there. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Steve. I'm out.
No, it's good.
We've had
always interrupt him so he knows what it's like.
In many currencies, we've had this type of moves. Just look at this. I mean, we started the year in
round trips.
In USD CAD, we started the year below 130.
Yes.
We exploded higher to 146.60, whatever it was, almost 147. And we're, in my opinion, most likely a few days away from having completely erased all this move like it never happened.
You know, Steve, that augurs to an elitician I know who claimed that all of FX is corrective compared to something like this S&Ps, where you have, you know, more you have impulsive, but he was saying because of the battle and what central banks do, that for the most part, even when you see trends, that FX is mainly corrective
I have
patterns.
a counter argument to that.
What?
Meet my friend USD Turkish lira.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's maybe he meant the majors. Anyway,
Imagine thinking that
yeah.
once everybody thought this is a parabolic move, because back then it was a
Oh,
parabolic move. Look at this, right? Imagine
yeah,
people thinking that, yeah, everything in FX is corrective. I mean, we had a move from like 115
yeah,
to 182. So, time to go back. And that person is currently looking at the USD Turkish lira at 8
yeah.
and still waiting for the round trip.
I see it, Jane. So the reason we can't hear Mark is he dialed in.
Okay, you dialed in. Let me
He
see.
called.
Okay, let me see then. How can I enable you to speak
We've
from there?
tried with people, and I don't think we've ever been able to
Yeah,
convert.
he's actually right. No, actually, you know something? You now can. The problem is that we have two people that have dialed in. Mark, I need you to give me the last three numbers, so I don't say the number out loud. The last three numbers from the phone you dialed in from, so I can actually unmute you, because we have two phones that have called in.
There it is.
Okay, found you. Try it out now.
He put his whole phone number up there.
Yeah, but it's just panelists. Mark?
Hi, everybody.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, yeah, we
Yeah,
can hear
Mark.
you. Perfect. Okay, now I'm
Hey,
going to stop
buddy.
sharing my screen, and you can also share your screen.
Welcome back, bro.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, good to be back. Great to join you guys again.
Yeah, I'm very interested in what you're seeing on, the radar screen, the Mark Newton radar screen, incoming, outgoing. What should we be prepared for here? And I'm waiting for you to share your
Yeah,
screen.
it's been a really interesting few months. I mean, I think a lot of us had expected we might get some fall volatility, and we did see that initially, and now we've snapped back. And
Do you want
the
to
real
share your
question
screen,
is,
Mark?
can we just? Oh, I thought I did. You cannot see it
No,
right now?
not yet. No, it's that green box.
Yeah, sometimes I have an issue with this. Let me see. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
Anyway, I will. I'll
right,
talk. Let me just continue
okay.
to try
All right,
to.
I'll share mine.
It's asking me to sign in. I thought I was in already because I.
Yeah, maybe
saw
that you could. Maybe it's because you called in. You can't share. So, you just cover the markets, and I'll put the charts up. So, here's the S&Ps.
Yeah, that's fine. So, bottom line is I entered the month of really October with four main concerns. One is that, technology had started to drop off and wane pretty dramatic. The second was that you started to see weekly momentum start to turn down, and a lot of that was based on the decline we saw in September. Sentiment has gradually started to get more and more bullish. I think most of us have been emboldened by a lot the prospects of stimulus and just a combination of the Treasury and the Fed, and thinking we're going to keep the rates low, indefinitely. But I think, we saw institutional sentiment get very bullish, and all of a sudden, individual sentiment is starting to get there as well. We're starting to low put-to-call ratios. So that's always a concern from a bullish standpoint when you start to see very low levels of put-to-call, which is what we've seen. They're down in the low 40s.
Aren't they really spec 2-week options that are being bought? It was part of the melt up that we had prior to the recent action, that a lot of Robinhood guys and huge call buying that forces market makers to ramp up stocks. Do you know anything about that? That's some of the commentary I'm hearing.
Yeah, I don't put a whole lot of credence into the idea that it's just a small group of people that really have that effect. I mean, I used to trade options out in the CBOE in my former life, and this whole notion that that a small amount of people can have an effect on prices close to expiration based on the concept of negative gamma and this and that is just a little far-fetched. I mean, there are places and to spread off risk, and
Okay.
when it happens overnight, you see prices nosedive, and the option markets certainly aren't open during that time. So that goes a long way towards refuting that.
Okay, so you were
when
talking
you see a
about
large
tech.
amount of
Yeah. You were
in
talking
general,
about
I
tech.
think when you start to see a large amount of equity call buying, market makers, in general, that doesn't necessarily always have to cause
A rally. Yeah.
what we saw at the June peaks. In other words, the level we're seeing now is equivalent to what we saw back in early June and also in early September, at least in my view. So, back then you didn't hear, that this was all that big of an issue. But
Okay, so I have Apple
in
up
any
here,
event,
Mark, I have Apple up here.
yes.
If you can see my screen.
Yeah, so,
there's
I think
go ahead, Mark.
all of this would be probably better suited when we're looking at the market these days to really consider the top stocks that are part of these indices. And obviously with the influence of Apple and Google and Microsoft and all of them, studying the patterns of these stocks really makes a whole lot of sense. We've seen a number of different in the last few weeks where tech is down, but yet breadth is higher and vice versa. The tech rally started to peter out with Apple back in September and software, but semis held on very strong, and now you've seen this little snapback in the last couple of days ahead of yesterday's Prime Day and the Apple unveiling. So, I view Apple, the gap earlier this week, as being likely a wave 3 of C. I think typically it's always wise to pay attention to gaps, and then that means that any sort of minor dip after that gap is usually 4, and typically you can go a little bit higher. But I would view the pattern as being sort of unsustainable heading into the next couple months. I still view
Right,
the
it
stock
stopped
as
right
being
at
extraordinarily
61.8.
overbought.
Can you hear me when I talk, Mark? Just curious.
I heard that, yes.
Oh, okay. So I'm showing the Apple chart right now. So far, it's stalled at 61.8. And there's a lot of patterns like this in the FANG. Maybe this is it. I mean, NASDAQ 100 retraced 88.6%, and then one-year leaders only 61.8. Same situation with Goog. Hasn't even reached 61.8. Amazon's a strength, right? It looks like it could have a new high in it, but not confirmed. So there are a lot of the champions and heavily owned stocks that are showing just normal retracement moves rather than are we going to blow to new highs unless NASDAQ really takes out the highs. Do you think we could have a failing rally in those issues?
I think in the next 2 weeks that we're likely to put in a pretty decent high in the market, and that likely we're going to have the next 2 months be down. So I think this year, based on some of the cycles that I looked at, should be very similar to really 2018, where the market peaked out in October and went straight down into December. I think if you look at the combination, I have 5 different cycles I run. I'm happy to send you the charts and you can show them to others.
Okay.
If you want to give me, let's see, maybe
okay.
we could figure out a way for you to share your.
Tweet them if you want. Anyway, and we'll reschedule one, Mark.
So
but,
yeah, a couple. Yeah, that's fine. That might be fine. I do want to show my charts. It doesn't do it. Honestly, looking at yours are fine, but I have my own comments, and so let's figure out a time where we can connect and I can show mine. I have a couple different comments though. One is that the move down from September very much looked like a 3-wave move. And now, it would make perfect sense to see a minor new high before we fail. I think that S&P up near 3650, 3675, would help to complete a 5-wave move up from late September, and then you could properly roll over, I think, in a lot of the indices.
Okay,
but
well, I
my
tell you
study
what.
suggests that we're heading.
How about Friday? This Friday.
I think that the wave structure, the way I look at it, is still early for a 5 up. So I'm
No, I'm
looking
talking
at,
about
you
rescheduling
could.
it.
Oh, Friday's fine. Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, let's do it right. So
Yeah, that's
let's
fine.
get back together on Friday, where you have your your Bloomberg and you
Yeah,
feel
I'll get there. We'll dial in and figure out how to get all my charts shared. I don't know why. I got a couple of new microphones, and one of the settings might be off on one of these. I really don't know.
okay.
In the past,
Otherwise,
I've had no
it's
problem logging
easier
on. So.
just to log in if you can do that. But yeah, let's do this Friday so that I'm being selfish. I really want to have a clear picture
Sounds
of
good,
your
Dale.
work. All right, buddy? All right, so
Sounds
Mark will
good.
be
Thank you.
back with us on Friday. That's a wrap, everyone.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Okay,
Yeah,
bro.
bye-bye.
All right, so that's it, everyone. So make sure you're around for Friday. There's a chat. Any questions before I go? Okay, you're very welcome. All right, so we'll talk to Mark on Friday. I think I have a new speaker tomorrow. So Mark's looking for a new high, but it sounds like he's looking for a new high prior to the election. Everyone wants to do it after the election. So I want to see what Mark's talking about. Maybe it'll help me time this thing a little better than I could do on my own. That's why we do this, So, yeah. Okay. Tomorrow we have George as Harmony Trader. Have you guys ever heard of him? Okay, so tomorrow we'll have George, and Mark will be with us with his complete outlook on Friday. All right. I'm a TV guy. All right. I want you guys to, see what Mark's saying. He is a, top tactician. He's very good. Okay, so see everyone in chat. Good luck today. Oh, I'm glad you like that, Sanse. I think God had one of his best days when he created dogs, right? It kind of shows us how he loves us. They're always happy to see us, right? Okay. I'll see everyone tomorrow. Take it easy. Good luck today, guys. See you, Mr. Black, Johnny Cash.